Hello, this is Peter Denton. This is my spaghetti bridge video. Basically, just want to talk about my report that I did the other week, and there's 5 major parts of the report, and I'm just going to go through those and explain how I built my bridge and the conclusion that I came to after the load test. In the introduction, the truss bridge design was the design that I chose to use. I chose this for a few reasons. This was chosen basically because of its strong design and using spaghetti. I was worried about the brittle nature of it as a material. The other reason I chose actually the angle truss design. I preferred to use that rather than the square truss design, just due to its strength that I'd researched. As far as the methods go, I chose linguine spaghetti just basically because the same thing again. It was thicker than normal spaghetti. It was easier. It was going to be a better material to use than the traditional thinner spaghetti. I had to in the process of building my spaghetti bridge in the design, I actually had to change it slightly just to allow for the 350mm span of the bridge. Once I actually had changed that, I laid the spaghetti over the design and cut it to suit. Now in the drawing, in the drawing part of it, and the actual making of it, I did the trusses first, and then once they were a little bit dry, I basically joined them at the top and the bottom. When I was joining them, they were a little bit brittle, so they needed to be left for a little bit longer than the trusses themselves. Now, as far as the load testing goes, to allow for the eye bolt hanger, I had to make a few roadways on there for it to sit on to take the load. I was actually, when I actually load tested it, I expected it not to take nearly as much load as it took. I found in hindsight, when it actually failed, it failed as I put something that was probably a little bit too heavy. I ended up using tools because I couldn't actually, where I live, get any sand. I was going to use water, but I was worried about that spilling everywhere. So I used tools, and I ended up putting light tools because I didn't actually even think it would take the weight of the bucket itself. Actually, I was quite amazed at how much it actually took. It ended up taking 4 kilos of weight, which I was quite astounded at actually. Yeah, and so I found under that load, and through the partner that I was paired up with, when it actually failed, it failed in this point here that you can sort of see. It failed at the top beam here, and it actually failed down the bottom here. So obviously from the compression forces coming down and then coming back up, it failed at those points. Now that through seeing the pictures of the forum partner I was partnered up with, of his design, I possibly could have made made a few more points on the design of my bridge that would have definitely, if I had have allowed for another brace up the centre here, from here up, I'm sure that would have allowed for greater weight, and also if I had have allowed for braces across these parts, I'm sure that would have allowed for greater weight overall to be tested. Yeah, so it was. In conclusion, I found from the experiment that I actually realised that a structure cannot be really, by looking at it, you can't really sort of say, oh yeah, it could take a certain amount of weight. As I said, with mine, I thought it was very brittle and it would have broken at half the weight it actually took. So it made me realise how structures withstand like extremely high loads, and the whole compression forces, how they work over the whole structure itself, not just parts of the structure. Yeah, and if you could brace it in certain ways where that would distribute the load, I think it sort of just also made me realise how with designs and changes in materials, how you can look at a material and think, oh, that material would not be able to take any weight or be used for anything, and how just the way technology is going, that I think we're going to see some designs and materials used in the future that will be just astounding to the weights they can take. So that's my video for my report of my spaghetti bridge. Thank you.